Is it safe to travel to Bogota, Colombia? Traveling to a new country can be a lot of fun, but for some of us, it can also come with anxiety and the fear of unknown, especially when you don't have prior experience or if you're simply new to traveling. With a well-researched and planned travel, you can explore novel areas of a country where you can be exposed to exciting cultures and environments that are different from the areas you live in, including local cuisine, music, art, history, and more. For those of you are like me, who are spontaneous and risk-seeking, at times unnecessary risk, and have an attitude that if we miss something, then we can always come back to that country. Like there was an interesting incident when I went to Rome and did not go to Vatican City. How silly. Also, at times I try to get adventurous, like I went to the favelas in Brazil for a party about 13 years ago. But then I get in trouble as well, like I got robbed in Lisbon and I lost my iPhone, and that's happened many times, like once in Paris, once in Orlando. So this video is for someone who does not want to take that unnecessary risk. Before any travel, I like to research the neighborhoods I like to stay in, not just from safety perspective, but also what are the areas that are important and aligned with my interests. In this video, I'll share my experience of traveling to Bogota, Colombia, and try to answer a very popular question when it comes to travel to any South American country. Is it safe to travel to Bogota in 2023? Watch this short video till the end to learn some great travel tips, experience Bogota, Colombia in 4K, and get help in planning your next travel to South America. So let's dive straight in. Colombia is famous for a lot of things, including its natural beauty, food, nightlife, etc. But it's also famous to be home of Pablo Escobar, the drug lord of all time. With an estimated 50 million people in 2020, Colombia is the third most populous country in Latin America after Brazil and Mexico. The crime rate is high because it is a big center for cultivation and trafficking of cocaine, a drug most readily available almost anywhere in Colombia. But over the years, things have changed and the government has done a lot of good things. They've gone to some great lengths to change the crime rate in cities like Bogota. A lot of money has been spent to fight poverty and combat violence from illegal armed groups, improving the overall infrastructure, police presence, and promoting the tourism industry. Despite the high crime rate, many safe lodging options, increased militarized police, and secure transportation are now in place to ensure that tourists can truly enjoy what this city has to offer. I stayed in 3 different areas in Bogota, and each of those have something unique to offer. Before we explore these areas, let's go over the travel safety tips when visiting Colombia. So travel safety tip number 1 is for local transportation. I opted to use Uber instead of local taxis for enhanced safety. See, Uber is recommended for tourists and it also provides a low-cost option for the local transportation. Travel safety tip number 2, stay in areas that have safer neighborhoods like North Bogota and avoid areas that look shady or you're unsure of. The areas you want to avoid in Bogota are Bosa, Kennedy, San Cristobal, and Usme. If you're a first-time visitor to Bogota like I was, I highly recommend staying in Zona Rosa, Zone T, and Chapinero. These are the areas that are really good ones and they have a great history as well. Like La Candelaria, that's a really good area as long as you're not staying out too late. Chico is also one of the very upscale neighborhoods of Bogota, and it's very safe and it's a good area, but it can be expensive as well. Now, travel safety number 3, don't flash expensive cameras and electronics and jewelry and draw too much attention while you're walking on the street. Stay confident wherever you go and be vigilant of your surroundings at all times. Exploring the city with a free walking tour and a tour guide will not only enrich your experience, but also it can keep you safe. Travel tip number 4. Local currency is preferred in smaller shops and places, even though your cards are very common and can be used everywhere, but you must carry some local currency as well. So use extreme caution when you're accessing ATMs and don't carry a lot of cash with you everywhere you go. Travel safety tip number 5. One of the biggest issues when traveling to Bogota is civil unrest and protest. And the most recent one was in 2021 where there was a protest and it was against the increased taxes and healthcare reform proposed by the government. So stay away from people who may be protesting, as sometimes these demonstrations can get really ugly, and many other nations where it is usually civil, but here it can get really ugly. So I think number one thing that Bogota has to offer is Bogota's nightlife. It's incredible, and especially if you're a party person like I am, then this city is something that must be on your bucket list. With plethora of nightclubs and hip joints, this city is definitely rocking from Thursdays to Sunday. Now, I got an opportunity to go to 𝐀𝐫𝐯𝐢𝐧, which is one of the biggest nightclubs in South America, and it was really amazing experience, as it came with like 13 different theme dance floors, and it just really left me craving for more and more. It was really amazing. The second important thing to do there is the Colombian food. So the street food and the local brews, it was really unique and enticing, especially the food sold on the street carts. You can find like that type of street food everywhere you go, from like breakfast dishes like empanadas to arepas, from mouth-watering tamales to tropical fruits like spice mangoes and Colombian coffee, to local favorite drink like chicha. The signature traditional dish, asiago, a rich soup made of potatoes, chicken, and corn, topped with avocados, was indeed heartwarming. So the food, the culture, the history is just super amazing. The third thing to do in Bogota is the historic center. So Plaza de Bolivar is really an amazing place near La Candelaria district, and there's a statue of Simon Bolivar in the heart of that historic city center, and it's an iconic square consisting of important religious and government buildings on each side of the plaza. The plaza actually dates back to pre-colonial times, and it was really important for indigenous people who lived there before like the Spanish people came and conquered it. The fourth thing to do in Bogota is Montserrat provides like best views of an urban metropolis that you can see without getting on a plane or a helicopter. It's one of the main attractions in the city of Bogota. It consists of a mountain with more than 3,500 meters of height from the city of Bogota, and you can see really amazing views, impressive panoramic views, and there are 3 ways to get to the top of the mountain. You could obviously walk and get a workout in on top of the hill. You could take telefrico, which is what I did, or a funicular, that's what it's also called, and it's really, really amazing. The next thing is exploring the street scene in Bogota. You could just like stroll aimlessly through Bogota and stumble upon a ton of great street art, but you can also get the pros to show you around. So there are like these graffiti tours where you could get that from the TripAdvisor, and the local guide would show you different areas and talk about different artists and social movements and what some of those paintings represent. It's really, really a fun activity to do. It's actually very eye-opening to look into both Bogota and Colombia's tumultuous past and the hopeful future at the same time. Things I didn't get to do, but I would say that I would cover that next time, and you should do that as well. The day trip to Lake Guavita. This is a lagoon or a lake, Guavita. It's a former sacred site of the Muisca indigenous tribe who inhabited the central highlands of what is now Colombia. This lake is where legend El Dorado originated, and is about 1.5 to 2.5 hours drive outside of Bogota. Another great trip is Villa de Livia. This is a small colonial town with impressive central square, cobblestone streets, and well-preserved Spanish architecture. Number 3 thing for day trip is the Gold Museum. This is the most visited tourist place in Bogota, and it's really gonna dazzle you. This museum displays a selection of pre-Columbian gold, and other metal alloys that contain like the largest collection of gold artifacts around the world. And there are these exhibition rooms, and the museum has a collection of 55,000 pieces, and 6,000 of which are displayed in this expanded building. So finally, to conclude, the answer to the important question, is Bogota safe to travel in 2023? In my humble opinion, safety in Bogota is totally achievable as long as you take the necessary safety precautions and do a little bit of planning before your trip. As a rule of thumb, do not travel to that remote paradise or jungle destination you saw online if a local tells you not to do so. Hopefully with the information shared in this video, you can feel a little bit more confident about visiting the capital city of Colombia, and also look forward to the numerous things and activities it has to offer. Until next time, stay safe and be kind to others. Thank you, goodbye.